Welcome back to ICO Review, and we're going to take a quickie look at Ubex because every single time I open up CoinMarketCap, Ubex is kind of there in my face to the point where they've kind of piqued my interest. And really, being here on YouTube and trying to make content, monetize content, it's always of interest to me when somebody presents a different kind of monetization opportunity, and Ubex is doing that in a somewhat unique way in terms of content creators, especially people with blogs and their own websites, presenting adverts to people consuming their content. So at a glance, as you may have surmised, Ubex is an online advertising solution, but they're integrating what seems to be a great deal of artificial intelligence. So when a user clicks over onto a web page, the Ubex artificial intelligence compares the user's data with the data of the website, and allegedly using those two parameters, it can compare and contrast various adverts that are being pushed out by Ubex to optimize what is not only the best advert for, in contrast to not only the person consuming the content, but the content the ad is being placed into, but also it can figure out the optimum placement for that advert as well in terms of where it is on the web page. So it's determining both advertising content, but also advertising format for, optimum efficiency. So in terms of, in general advertising optimization, I feel like that's a pretty fantastic way to try and increase CPM, clicks per minute, click-throughs, the actual impact of the advertising itself, whilst cutting down on the money one might spend on, getting an agency to try and do that sort of thing for you. Which means it's doing what every ICO claims to do, and that is cut out the middleman. But when we're talking about smart contracts, when we're talking about AI, both of those things will of course go to contribute to cutting out the middleman. But at least so far I haven't seen anywhere on the Ubex page that we are the first, and that seems to be an ongoing trope in the blockchain space. But I have to admit that these guys are the first that I've seen doing it this way. Now, I need to remember whether AdBank was incorporating any sort of artificial intelligence. Maybe I'll do a contrast video. Comment below if you want some sort of compare-contrast video, because this is the first proper advertising mob that we've looked at since AdBank here on the channel. So right off the bat, my perspective here, if I was trying to monetize a website, for instance, through advertising, the AI will be taking a hell of a lot of pressure off my back as a publisher in terms of trying to figure out where to place ads, in terms of trying to figure out what ads I want here on my platform, or sourcing the right agency to do so. I feel like there's a certain confidence that comes along with what Ubex is spooking in terms of what the artificial intelligence can actually achieve. What I'm curious about is how that pops up in the browser, how on your website that overlays. And as we continue, we'll see if we can find some sort of example on that, as well as a UI for anybody advertising or trying to sell adverts via the Ubex space. And in case you want to go check out what problems they're solving yourself, they break it down pretty simply on the web page. So for users, irrelevant and annoying advertisements being displayed happens all the damn time on YouTube. Overpayment, of course, for product services due to multiple intermediaries and high commissions. So what that means is they're proposing that they're going to lower the product price by not taking as much for providing advertising. I disagree with that, I must say. In terms of being in commerce, it doesn't feel like good business to pass that saving on to the consumer. I feel like most companies are going to take a saving by implementing Ubex for their advertising and keep charging the standard cost. Let me know what you think in the comments below though. High risk as well due to scammers, use of commerce, and provocative methods of advertising, I should say. So that's for users. For advertisers, they're talking about mitigating uncertainty, the uncertainty of achieving results, and advertisers are forced to pay for clicks and displayed ads without guarantee of actual sales. Yeah, of course. I do wonder just how much they can guarantee with this. They're definitely going to increase CPM, I imagine. But in terms, click versus actual purchase ratio, I suppose it's not CPM. In terms of this problem, though, it's very much a saturation game at the moment, especially using things like Google AdWords, Google AdSense. I've got a brick and mortar business and we spend a stupid amount of time putting money through just advertising on Google, advertising, and a lot of that does go down the drain with no return, but that is the name of the game right now. So at least in terms of mitigating uncertainty, I think they can take down the percentage or increase the percentage at which you will sell a service. Of course, the difficulty in figuring out all available advertising channels, they've got a hub for that. We'll show that a little bit later on. Ineffectiveness of some advertising channels, which only becomes apparent after the budget has been spent. Yeah, I think that's a fantastic thing to mitigate in terms of an advertiser. It's another problem we run into, especially with like local radio stations. You know, it took a long time to sort out the traditional media in the city I'm in. Local radio stations, TV stations, they all say they're the biggest and the best, and it takes some time to figure out. More to the point, it takes a lot of dollars to figure out where you're going to get the bang for your buck. So hopefully Ubex, this platform, the AI, is going to do a lot of that work for you. And for publishers struggling to find advertisers to fill all ad slots, there are agencies that do that for you. But again, I hope Ubex is going to be cheaper and or more accessible. Lower earnings and inability to forecast future payments for advertisers, so that's good. It's more affordable. And payment delays and non-payments from dishonest advertisers. So so that's a thing. You know, this website's absolutely packed out with information, so I'm going to try and keep this short. So why blockchain for these guys? And we'll take a quick look at the AI as well, exactly what the AI is trying to do and address. But yeah, why blockchain? So again, this website's nice and informative. So let's have a look at the AI, which they're referring to as the neural network. So it's doing, they've broken it into 4 main functions. I'm just going to read straight off the website if you don't mind. So collection of necessary information about internet resources and their users, analysis of users' current interests and needs. So that's number 1. So that's where we're getting the cross between the content and the curation of the advertising that's being delivered to the content consumer. Selection of most relevant and financially profitable advertising, matching it with the appropriate advertising format. So that's pretty cool and self-explanatory. Regression analysis of statistical indicators to determine the most relevant results. Okay. And accumulation of processing of the regression analysis. Okay, so it's doing artificial intelligence stuff. Why blockchain? So they're using smart contracts, of course, uses smart contracts to exclude any intermediaries between advertisers and publishers, cutting out the middlemen or effectively replacing the middlemen with middle bots. Actually using encryption, I suppose, for the storage of data that could be considered quote unquote confidential. So storage of data necessary for artificial intelligence learning, along with the information of the publisher's site, ad content, offers, and the history of the participants. So maybe it's the history of the participants that I'm more concerned about being kept private and encrypted. You know, I'm not entirely sure how deep into your data they're looking. You know, maybe they're going as far as search history, cookies. I'm not entirely sure, but I can definitely understand some people wanting to keep their, you know, their browser history a little bit private, or they're obviously demonstrating that I don't have a firm grasp upon exactly how this works, but we do a lot of things on the internet and we want to keep those things private. So hopefully through the use of blockchain, that's going to be a thing that is happening. Tokenization of advertising spaces on publishers' websites by receiving Ubex tokens in advance. So I think in terms of a business move, that makes sense for Ubex instead of having to worry about local currencies. You know, it's just one less thing that Ubex themselves need to worry about, and then it's put in the hands of the individual that wants to cash out, you know. Which means they can focus on doing what they do best, which is allegedly artificial intelligence and advertising, and using Ubex tokens to compensate participants for sharing data about the users visiting their website. You know, so it's a utility token, but you know, executing smart contracts. Actually, there's a pretty good diagram on the main website, if I remember correctly, and it's this one here, and you can have a look at it on their website if you want to get a firm grasp upon, you know, what they're trying to do in terms of a visual representation. So, is there a product? Let's have a look. Go to the app. Okay, so this is a demo version of what the dash will look like, and it's obviously in beta mode at the moment. You know, so there's KYC, section specific for advertisers, where you can manage your campaigns. Fantastic. This is cool. I'm into this. Budgets. Oh, okay, so we can create an advert. Let's have a look. Marvelous. This is cool. Going through to people that are going through to where people want to publish. All of the options to start earning. Let's see what happens if we click on one. Yeah, fair enough. Pop into your wallet, check things out. This demo version's loaded, love it. A bit of an FAQ there for anybody interested. So again, I'm accessing a alpha version through the main page. I've just clicked go to app. It'll prompt you to, it'll ask you what you want to see, and you can click through, etc., etc. So in my opinion, this is pretty cool. I like this. I like the interface. It's pretty seamless. It's a damn sight less imposing than the back end of Google AdWords, AdSense, all of that. So of course, after that point, it's all adoption, which, you know, we can speculate on that all day. But in terms of how I found about Ubex, you know, right front and center on CoinMarketCap, they're on every second review site. Let's have a look. Yeah, so they're on a lot of the major review sites. They've either A, received or B, paid for really positive reviews as well. So there's a lot of social proof, and they're on Cointelegraph as well, which is for those of you that don't know, a major hub of crypto news. So it's a big deal. It's a big deal the way in which they've delivered their advertising, and I think that, you know, though it should be with what they do, it's difficult to break through all of the noise, especially as we lose all of those first movers in the ICO space. You know, it's getting to a point where every sector in the ICO space is saturated, so it's cool to see somebody standing out for once. And I wanted to click through to Cointelegraph just to make sure it's actually there, because we've found sites before that put all of those ratings and all of those websites on their front page until you click on it, and it goes through to the home page of the website that they want to be reviewed on. But no, it's actually there. It's a thing that's happened. So the Ubex token sale ends on the 30th of this month. I think I'll put in the description below a proper date. Once I double check that, let's have while we're talking about the actual token sale, let's have a look at the token economics. So I'm a big fan of this token distribution, only 15% going to the team and advisors with a 1-year lockup, which means, you know, unless it's the community doing it, no major dumping after everybody gets their tokens. 10% reserve, 3% bounty, but oh, actually, bounty is 1 month lockup as well, so that means people like me aren't going to be dumping, which is good. Now the cost of one Ubex is 0.00001 Ethereum. So their total cap is a little bit over 11 mil if they completely sell out, which I think they will, looking at the way they've progressed. So in terms of what we can expect, in terms of return, I don't know, because it's wild speculation. But they've done a pretty mean job branding, marketing, exposure. So at least I do believe there'll be the market volume to be able to, do your trading and cash out, etc., etc. It seems like there are plenty of people following this project as it is. Now, I don't necessarily believe the Telegram numbers. When we see Telegrams of, just shy of 100,000 members, how many of them are active is my question. But, I think it's still indicative of a fair bit of hype, exposure, but take it with a grain of salt. But this video has gone on a little bit longer than I intended. So if you want to keep talking about Ubex, come to Telegram on the Crypto Nebula channel, link in the description, or just the comment section below, and bring me ICOs. Bring me the ICOs that you're interested in looking at. It'll help me make more videos and help us all in the community figure out, places to invest. It's definitely a changing space, a year after we started doing all of this. Hit the subscribe button if you like what we do here on the channel as well. And I have been your crypto enthusiast, and I'll see you in the next video.